Hello and welcome to Sport This Morning. I'm Cecilia Omogbe.
I am Taya Salam. It's great to have you join us again.
All right, this morning we're starting with another news concerning the National Sport Festival. There is a date for it. It's starting on Valentine's Day, which is February 14th.
Yeah, you can call it a lover's start for the National Sports Festival. Also on the show, we'll be doing a comprehensive preview of Match Day 2 of the NWFL Premiership. Two games in Lagos today.
Which is a big one. I mean, Lagos happens to be the center for today. Dream Stars at home, also FC Robo at home. The two teams that got away win, match day 1, will be in action today at the Legacy pitch of the National Stadium, Surulere. All right, also on the program, we've been waiting for it. We knew it was going to happen. Super Max deal for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So for him right now, he's the money man. How much is it, Tayo?
Yes, $228 million extension for Giannis Antetokounmpo to remain a Buck for the next 5 years. Secured a major bag right there, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and that's what we're starting off the show. And that's the biggest question coming into the preseason.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to Giannis? Is he going to sign the extension, or is he going to pass on it and become an unrestricted free agent next year? We have an answer now. And fantastic news for all Milwaukee fans that Giannis has decided to, spend the prime of his career, in the city.
So let's have fun and make these years count. That was what he said after putting pen to paper. So it's a message from the Milwaukee superstar. I mean, it's a great one for him because at first people were actually thinking, I mean, will this guy wants to leave? Will he want to do something like what LeBron James did? Sometimes you're not winning the championship and you actually need that ring. But this guy, he's decided to say, I'm staying. So he says, this is my home, this is my city, and I'm blessed to be here. So he is staying. Let's have fun, win, and make these years count.
Giannis has decided to do it the old school style. It's not going out in search of a ring. He wants to win the ring where he was
just
drafted.
Like MJ did.
Exactly. Wants to go down as a proper legend. I'm not saying every other person that I've gone in search of rings are not legends.
You're throwing shit right
now. That's not what I'm saying. That's why I have to clarify.
You're just throwing because I know
he's just doing it a different way.
After he signed, I mean, question was put to LeBron now asking him, I mean, would you want to compare, what he did to what you did? I'm like, no, we're not in the same situation and all that. So, I mean, Bucks have actually tried. He said something about if they have the same dream, with him, because he wanted them to get some players. And, of course, and they did, beef up the team and all that. So he's got players to play with. And so he would definitely be happy that these players have come. The club, the franchise decided to okay, let's see if we can bring in some players. And, of course, go for that particular championship. So it's a big one for them at the end of the day. Big one for Milwaukee Bucks, also big one for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Just staying loyal. It's all about loyalty these days.
You're right. For Giannis, like I said, he's just decided to do it the old school way. So the organization, the franchise know now that he's decided to stay for the prime of his career, they will need to support, they will need to build a championship winning team for him. So going forward, you expect, let's say it doesn't work out this year. They brought in Drew Holiday and a couple other players. If it doesn't work out, they will have to, get in more players going forward for the Milwaukee Bucks. It's been a disappointing postseason for them in the last couple of years, despite coming into the playoffs with the best record. They lost to the Raptors 2 years ago. Last year, they lost to Miami. No one really saw it coming. So it's been very disappointing, and that's why there was speculation that perhaps Giannis might decide to take his talent to maybe LA, like LeBron did when he left Cleveland for Miami. But that's no longer the case now. The speculation has been put to bed now. Giannis Antetokounmpo will remain a Buck for the next 5-6 years.
Okay, let's leave that one. I mean, someone who is satisfied and contented, and talk about the one who wanted to go. But somehow, well, it's not really happening because he had to return to court. So we're talking about James Harden. He's back on court. And for him, it was a win for the Houston Rockets on his return.
Yeah, good return for James Harden. There were 3 games that played in preseason. Late last night, stroke early this morning. One of the games included the return or the debut of James Harden this season for the Houston Rockets. Scored 12 points in 21 minutes in that victory over the San Antonio Spurs. It was 3 for 10 from the field. So obviously there's still a bit of rust in terms of shooting the ball for the Bear. But even after the game, it was non-committal. Still, mind still set on leaving Houston. So it's safe to say Houston, they've got a problem on their hands going into the next season, which is just around the corner on the 22nd.
So Coach Steven Silas is someone who needs to see how he can convince this guy
Silas
to
can
stay.
Do
because John Wall, I mean, two of them were together, for the first time on court. So you'd have actually loved that partnership. 112 and 98 and all that. James Harden just didn't have only 12 points. He had 4 assists, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals, all in 21 minutes. A great way to start. But then let's see if he's going to stay or not.
He is not interested in staying.
Okay.
Not even the acquisition of John Wall has changed his mind. He just wants to go somewhere else. He's been in Houston for the last few years now, and I think it's crossed to see how that situation will pan out. There were other games as well too, so let's just run through the result of the Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. It was Philadelphia winning that game 108 to 99. Joel Embiid scoring 18 points in his preseason debut. Yes, the other one is the Warriors and the Kings. A very, very interesting game, went down to the wire. Steph Curry scoring 29 points, but wasn't enough to prevent the Warriors from succumbing to a late buzzer-beating 3 from Kyle Gal. But for me, for this game, it was good to see Steph playing. Looks in mid-season form already. Already. I mean, it's still preseason, but it looks like it's in mid-season form. It's ready to go. That's just fantastic viewing for a lot of Golden State Warriors fans. We've had to deal with, not the best, 2019, 2020 season with all the injuries that they've had, not making the playoffs, Clay down again for another year. So seeing Steph play, looking healthy, looking in great form, is a big consolation for them going forward.
Let's see how it's going to pan out when the season starts, December 22nd. Okay, let's leave that and quickly touch down on what's happening in the boxing world. It's all about Floyd Mayweather inducted into Boxing Hall of Fame. He's been selected. He's been selected into the Boxing Hall of Fame. So it's a good one because he expected this to happen to Floyd Mayweather. 50-0. Who does that?
Who does that?
So he's the only one, right?
Yes, that's it. Floyd Mayweather, the money man, TBE, everyone to call him, the best ever. Floyd Mayweather being elected into the International Boxing Hall of Fame Museum. Of course, just a reminder, in case you've forgotten, that Mayweather was a big deal while still a boxer, captured 11 world titles in 5 different weight divisions, retired unbeaten, like Cecilia just said, 50-0. And you have to say it's a no-brainer. This selection
that class
induction.
Of 2021.
Exactly. 2021, there are other guys as well, so let's just, spare thoughts for Andre Ward. Is also part of the guys that have been selected for the Boxing Hall of Fame. Laila Ali as well, too, has been selected. Great champion in a time as well. So, I mean, all those boxers, it's always good to see them get their flowers, the recognition while they're still
alive, which is great for all of them. Okay, let's leave boxing and come home. The National Sport Festival. Come on, every time we want to talk about it, it's only about postponement or something is happening. We just want it to go. But right now, I mean, hopefully, and that's February 14th. This is it. Yes, hopefully in February, it's going to go ahead. When the January 3rd was announced, we're like, January 3rd, how do you do that?
A couple of days after.
But right now, I mean, the National Council on Sports, under the chairmanship of the Sports Minister, Sunday Dari, they actually held a virtual meeting, yesterday. Unanimously, they agreed that the NSF, of course, will have to hold from 14th to 28th of December 2021. So they justify the reason behind the postponement is the fact that because they actually need better precautionary measures against COVID-19, bearing in mind that there's going to be a lot of influx of people coming into the state during the time and all that, so they don't want it to really escalate because of the festive period. So they've agreed with the Presidential Task Force that this should hold from February 14th. So Edo 2020 will now be Edo 2021, and we have a date, February 14th to 28th. hopefully these dates will stick, right?
Yeah,
that's the hope.
That's all we can do. That's I mean,
Okay.
it's better than starting 2 days after the New Year. I mean, 14th of February.
That was a no-brainer.
All right.
Okay, let's talk about someone who
back.
is doing something really good and remarkable. Haruna Quadri. He's not just winning on court, I mean, table tennis and all that. He's also winning outside of that.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, you could put it that way.
Yeah.
Or he's trying to make
Huge impact, yeah.
to others, winning, trying to win as well. To Haruna Quadri, Africa's best table tennis player,
Yeah.
donating table tennis equipment to 2 Paralympians
Yeah.
as they prepare for the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics.
Yeah, presentations were held in Lagos yesterday. Of course, Irene Ewowan was there bringing out those pictures, concerning, the way he was able to go about it and all that, just trying as much as possible to put a smile on the faces of these Paralympians, because you know how hard it can be for them to be able to, get these things together. But he decided to, look, I need to support these guys, what they're doing, and he brought this. But let's listen to some of the people,
the beneficiaries,
what they had to say after receiving such gifts.
A very big thanks to Quadri Haruna that remember us, give us this equipment for preparation for Paralympic 2021. I hope with this equipment, by God's grace, we will deliver. Because we are sometimes like equipment, but now that we are getting this from our international player, we can improve in our training, and with training, we can get medal from Paralympics. Even to participate in the Paralympics is a dream that come true in my life. I've been dreaming of playing in Paralympic over 10 years ago, but now I thank God that it's now possible for me to go to Paralympic. And with this, I think I will deliver. Honestly, I can't promise gold, but I will make sure that I deliver by God's grace.
Yeah, it will motivate me, to motivate my games, and it will also make me. It will motivate my game and to improve my game also. By the grace of God, I'm going there and coming back with gold medal.
Yeah, Faith Bazwaye there. She's really happy. I mean, it's going to serve as motivation for her going into the Paralympics Games next year in Tokyo. So that's a way to start, right, Tayo?
Yeah, that's it. Fantastic. It's good to see them appreciating the kind gesture from Haruna Quadri as well. And of course, there were other guys that were present during the presentation. Former president of the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation, Enitan Waide was there as well. And yeah, all of them are just pretty much commending this very kind gesture from Haruna Quadri.
My first reaction is Haruna does not need to do this, because Haruna is a player and he's still playing. And he's a player that has made his mark in table tennis. He's an African champion, he's a world beater, he's in the first 20. And so he's humbling. And it's a thing that should encourage other players that are outside. For him to have been able to think about the situation at home and not support just the able, support the para. I mean, it's something that is very commendable, and I want to thank Haruna Quadri for thinking about home. Each of the items given to this player is about 375,000 naira worth of items. He could have, kept it or sell, but he decided to give to other players. So other players that Nigeria do have, I'm encouraging them that they should look back and support players to be better, and for them to be able to make their mark in the game also. It's equally an opportunity to call on philanthropists and companies all over Nigeria that should come to the aid of table tennis. Well, now we have 7 people representing Nigeria in the Olympics. We're going to be sure that we're going to come up with medals from Olympics. Same thing, and if you come with medals for Nigeria, it's for Nigeria. It's not just for Nigerian Table Tennis Federation. But they need equipment, they need alls, they need bats, they need kits to put on.
These players are talented, really gifted players. They've qualified for the Olympics well in advance. And all they need is the support. These are people very capable of bringing medals back home to Nigeria. Paralympics has always been our strongest suit, in Nigeria. Table tennis is rising up along with athletics and powerlifting. And hopefully this will ginger them into doing very well at the Olympics.
Former NTTF President Wahid Enitan they appreciating the donation made by Aaron Okwadri to these two Paralympians as they get ready for Tokyo 2020. Sila is fantastic. I don't think we can overemphasize what Aaron has done, and we just hope other players, other athletes can do similar stuff for the guys that are based back in Nigeria. Let's talk about the guys who will be aiming to go to the Olympics perhaps in the next 5-10 years. The junior players have been, of course, like everyone else in the world, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected them playing a lot of competitions this season. But the LOC of the Lagos Open, they've not forgotten about these guys because the Lagos Open had to be, pushed, had to be pushed forward to whenever. It doesn't look like it's going to hold again.
Of course, it's been cancelled this year.
Cancelled. There you go.
Year, so
they're not forgetting the players, and they decided to donate kits for them.
Yeah, it's a good one, not just Aaron Okwadri is doing that. Then why the LOC decided that, look, these junior players, under 16 players, they've been playing different tournaments across the country and all that. So they just want them to have this, a kind of support to help them to develop, tennis in their sport. Let's just listen, to the organizers, the people behind this, and also maybe one of the athletes who received such a gift.
I've always said we need to develop these young players, and you can see their ages here, very young. This is the time to catch them and the time to find the necessary support. It's not, playing a tournament is good, but it's the training. The training camps, the equipment, these things, the parents can't do it alone.
As a matter of fact, we shouldn't be calling it sponsorship anymore, it's partnership. We need their partnership to be able to forge ahead. These young ones need their partnership. We have a lot of young girls who are there, who are doing so much and very well in several sports, and we need to be able to be there to support and encourage them.
I feel so happy because this is what I've been waiting for. I know that something good will come out of this.
Something good will definitely come out of this. As Tayo predicted, maybe in 10 years' time, you might just be having some of these players at the Olympics. Who knows?
Who knows?
Never can tell. Okay, let's leave that support and talk about Nigerian Women's Premiership. That's the only league that is going on in Nigeria. We know that when it comes to football. True. And, of course, we have some games lined up for you. And the big one everyone is looking forward to, of course, is the game between FC Robo and Osun Babes, simply because these two teams went away from home to get all 3 points. Osun Babes, I hope they'll be able to put behind them the protest they had on Monday and focus on this game and see how they can also take a point off FC Robo. And that will be happening right here in Lagos at the Legacy pitch of the National Stadium. Pelican Stars and Ibom Angels also in action today. You also have the game between the Royal Queens and Abia Angels also. Dream Stars Ladies and Edo Queens. That's another game to watch out for. Dream Stars Ladies, they lost their game away from home. And, of course, Edo Queens won their game at home 4-1. Rivers Angels and Delta Queens. Rivers Angels went to conference to collect a point, but then see if they can take all 3 points against high-flying Delta Queens. Sunshine Queens and Confluence Queens will also be in action. Nasarawa Amazons, after losing to FC Robo, they're still home again to see if they can win this one against Bayelsa Queens. That's the game for today in the Nigerian Women's Football League Premiership. That's the only league currently running in Nigeria. I have to say that.
You have to say that over and over again. Well, I've got particular interest in the match that will be played between FC Robo and Osun Babes. That was at the Legacy pitch in Surulere because of what just happened a few days ago. This Osun Babes, have you even seen them? Have they arrived? Have you seen any sign of them in Lagos yet? Because protesting, trying to get their salaries and all of that. You wonder the kind of mind frame that they're in. Coming into a very important competition like this. And very interesting to see how it pans out today, whether they even turn up at all. Anyways, we need to go on a first break now. When we come back, I will be doing a comprehensive review of the games that were played in the Premiership yesterday, as well as a preview of the games that will go down today, including the top-of-the-table clash between Tottenham and Liverpool. You're welcome back. You're welcome back to Channel Sport this morning. So it's a bit funny in the studio right now, but we'll keep that on the wraps. You don't want to know what's going on. Anyways, you're welcome back to Channel Sport this morning. And you can be a part of the show. Talk to us on channels_sports. Chelsea fans, how are you all feeling this morning? Back-to-back losses for the first time since December 14, 2019. What do you make of what went down yesterday against Wolves? And for Arsenal fans, you've been in action today against Southampton. Mikel Arteta has come out to take all the blame for your awful form this season. Do you still support the Spaniard to remain in charge, or do you want a new face in the dugout? Of course, basketball fans, Giannis Antetokounmpo is not going anywhere. It's going to remain a Buck for 5 more years. Do you think he can actually win that elusive championship ring in Milwaukee, or do you think he should have, perhaps waited to move to somewhere else next season? There's a lot to talk about on the show. Of course, Liverpool and Tottenham will be facing off later today. You can send your predictions for that match. Bada Kitsune Johnson is ready to join us now to do a review of the games that were played yesterday and the matches that will be played today. Bada, good morning. It's always great to have you on the show.
Morning, guys. Always a pleasure to be here, like I like to say. Morning, Cecilia.
Fantastic. It's great to have you. Let's just cut to the chase and start with what went down last night. 2 games. Wolves defeating Chelsea by 2-1. A late Pedro Neto goal condemning Chelsea to back-to-back defeats. And the other matchup was between Manchester City and West Brom. West Brom, of course, fighting for their survival, going to the Etihad Stadium to get a 1-1 draw. City losing more ground in the Premier League title race. Let's start with Chelsea versus Wolves. Bada.
Well, I knew that this was a tricky tie, and I'm sure anyone who's followed the Wolves team over the years and how they are pumped, how they are up for the big games, would have known that for Chelsea to get anything out of that game, they would have needed to produce something close to their best. But we didn't see any of that. Chelsea looked ponderous on the front foot. They really didn't offer a lot of solutions. Christian Pulisic started. Kai Havertz was anonymous for another game. And this must be very worrying signs for Frank Lampard, because that run that they put together was premised on a solid defense. I just couldn't concede goals. And an attack that was irresistible with a lot of intensity, a lot of pace. The transition was breathtaking. They had players who were brimming with confidence. And they were finding solutions everywhere. Even Timo Werner, all of a sudden, looks quite ordinary. Leggy. Yeah. And of course, he started Olivier Giroud, who scored the opener. But it was, I would say, against the run of play, because Wolves looked super confident. They were moving the ball well. They were passing it well. They were trying to create chances. And if they had a player of Raúl Jiménez's quality in attack, they probably would have scored earlier. But the teenager who they played in attack, Silva, hasn't really found. Yeah, still hasn't really found his footing. And it's quite a curious case for Wolves, personally, because how do you spend that much money on an 18-year-old who had only made one first-team appearance? But then Wolves, in spite of that, looked really good. Neto looked really sharp. They didn't even start Adama Traore. But Ruben Neves in deputizing for Yao Moutinho was pulling the strings in the middle of the park. Defensively, they were tigerish in the tackle. Even though Chelsea went close with that Zuma header that hit the woodwork, but Wolves looked really confident. The last time I saw them play that confidently was at the Emirates, which incidentally was the last time they won before that particular game. But then once Chelsea went into the lead, they went back into their really slow, ponderous, lethargic self, kind of like Frank Lampard's team for most of the season. And I couldn't understand why Kai Havertz remained on the pitch. And that's not, pinning all the blame on him. But if your team is struggling for creativity, there was no Hakim Ziyech on the pitch. Timo Werner was anonymous. And then the guy who should be the creative hub of the team, Kai Havertz, just couldn't get going, couldn't get into the game. You would have expected Frank Lampard to call him off earlier, but then it did look like, well, they were still in the game. Things were going well until Wolves scored and smelled blood. And from that point on, I knew personally watching that game that if any of the two sides was going to win it, it wasn't going to be Chelsea. It was going to be, because think about it, apart from that Oliver Giroud goal, which is that goal line technology actually, what other chance did Chelsea create? I can't remember, to be honest. I can't remember, Rui Patricio needing to make any difficult save for the rest of the game. So I thought Wolves were full value for their point. Pedro Neto was electric on the night. He was the best player on the pitch, in my own opinion. And it was fitting that it was the one that settled it on the breakaway in the last minute when he went one-on-one with Zuma, dropped the shoulder, went past him and just blasted that ball into the corner of the net. And full value, full points for Wolves over Chelsea.
But I mean, Edouard Mendy has had a fantastic start to his Chelsea career, a string of clean sheets with his big towel every day. But yesterday, I think he should have done better with the second goal. I mean, of course, it was a good striker from Pedro Neto, but he should have done better with that. Even the first goal as well. Does he have any blame this morning?
No. I think it would be harsh to pin any of the blame for the two goals on him. The first one actually took a deflection off the thigh of Reece James when Daniel Podence let fly from close range after feigning a few times like he was going to shoot and not shooting. The ball took a nick off the thigh of Reece James and beat him on the near post. And you can say all you want about goalkeepers, never getting beaten on their near post. But if the strike is good and there's a deflection, a goalkeeper is not, he's not a spirit. He's a human being. he can get beaten on his near post. Yeah, the pace on that ball was a lot. And so, I can't blame him for that.
The second one?
I thought that because that shot was low and he was already advancing, looking to close down, a finish to the near post or block it with his foot. But the guy, directed the ball so far away from him, he went into the side netting on the inside, on the far post. So it was a perfect strike, trust me. I don't know of many goalkeepers in the world who would have saved that. He hit it as clean as possible. The pace was great on it, but the direction was even greater because he steered it as clear from Edouard Mendy as possible. So I don't think he's to blame for any of the two goals.
All right.
Okay, it wasn't a feeble shot, so in a nutshell, Tyre. So stop blaming Mendy for Chelsea's woes. All right, let's talk about Pep Guardiola now and what they did last night. This morning was talking about the fact that the players don't lack confidence at all because they had the 26 attempts on goal, 6 of which were saved by the goalkeeper, Johnston. But somehow, they just managed a draw out of that. What is wrong with Manchester City? Is it lack of confidence or something?
No, it's goal scoring. I think that before now, in those two championship winning sides, you had players who could come up with solutions when, the chips were down. When it came to the crunch, you had Leroy Sané, who was scoring a lot of goals. Raheem Sterling was in the form of his life at that point in time. And most importantly, you had Sergio Aguero, who, had all the experience, all the quality to open up teams when it came down to it. And of course, Kevin De Bruyne continues to provide the ammunition. It's just that the guys are not finishing. Look at the 2 late chances that they had, those headers. Gundogan should have not only hit target, but should have steered it away from the goalkeeper. Same with Sterling. So, at this level of football, when chances are at their premium, it's not enough to do the bare minimums, which was what the 2 players did. Get the shot on target, get the header on target. You've got to direct the ball away from the goalkeeper. And they didn't do that. So Pep Guardiola knows that the team is playing well, the team is creating chances, but in football, if you don't score goals, all of that effort will be wasted. And that's what, he must be losing sleep over. And looking at the January transfer window and asking himself, where do I get a top marksman? Gabriel Jesus is not doing it at this moment in time. When teams defend very, very deep, like West Brom did yesterday, Gabriel Jesus is not at his best. He needs space. He's a quick player who, can beat a man and take a shot. But with his back to goal, he's very ineffective. And of course, he's not the biggest player. So if you keep crossing the balls into the box, he won't hit them. So that's a dilemma that he has. And it must be said, this Manchester City team looks to be in all kinds of trouble in the league because teams have sort of figured them out that they are struggling for goals. And all you need to do is keep a very low block, solid defensive shape, throw bodies in the line of every shot they play from a distance or from the edge of the box. Those intricate passing, the way they drag players away from their positions and get people into those gaps and exploit those spaces. We're not seeing a lot of it this season. Until they get that creativity back and that incision or incisiveness in front of goal, I'm afraid Man City may not be challenging for the Premier League this season.
Right, let's talk about Semi Ajayi. I mean, he should have, the own goal by Ruben Diaz, it should have been his own because it was a deflection and all that. What do you make of his performance against City?
I think much of the good work that Semi Ajayi did on the pitch yesterday was at the other end, in front of his goalkeeper. I thought himself and his central defensive partner were colossus over the 90 minutes of that game, or 94 minutes of that game. They threw their bodies in the line of every shot. They headed everything clear. And on the few occasions when they didn't, their goalkeeper came to their rescue, especially later on. Semi Ajayi, I think, has had, in spite of all the woes of West Brom, he's been one of their standout players. And I don't say this because he's Nigerian, but because I watch them very closely. If it were not for his, call it heroics, and that's not stretching it, they would have considered a lot more goals in this league. He reminds me so much of the good work that Tosin Adarabioyo is doing currently for Fulham. If he ever has a change of heart and plays for Nigeria, those are, two world-class centre-backs who are playing for lowly struggling clubs, but their individual performances are telling a different story about them. They are quality players who, are still relatively young and can grow into, accomplished central defenders in the future. Yesterday, Semi Ajayi was one of the better West Brom players, and like you said, he went to the other end and tried a shot which was going wide and was deflected by Ruben Diaz. The reason it was given as an own goal was because he didn't get that shot on target. The ball was actually going wide. But then he made the effort. And as they say, if you don't buy the ticket, you don't win the lottery. You bought the ticket, you won the lottery.
Fantastic. That's it. Great win for, not a win, great draw.
More like it.
Felt like a win.
More like a win. Slaven Bilic under pressure. Papers are reporting that his job is on the line. Perhaps that 1-1, that point at the Etihad will give him a stay of execution.
We're hearing, though, Tayo, that he will still get fired.
Ouch.
The papers are, screaming this morning that Sam Allardyce has been lined up.
Big Sam is back.
Okay, let's talk about the games for today, right?
Not back just yet.
We have some games lined up for today. We'll just run through. Arsenal will be in action against Southampton. Okay, let's see if they can bounce back from the slump, address it.
Fifth straight loss at home.
Okay, Leeds United and Newcastle, Leicester, Everton, and Fulham, and Brighton. And of course, you also have Liverpool and Tottenham. That's another big game for today, and that's the one we'll be talking about. Liverpool, Tottenham.
That's the
reigning
game.
Champions and
top of the table clash.
Okay, West Ham and Crystal Palace will also be in action. But then, before we get your thoughts on this game between Liverpool and Tottenham, let's just get the thoughts of Klopp on Spurs, how Jose Mourinho has actually turned the team around.
Very, very impressive indeed. Results machine. I don't know if you sense a bit of backhanded compliment there, but let's go back to Bada. These two teams, top of the table, are separated by goal difference. Jose's side scored the more goals this season, but they're coming off the back of 1-1 draws at the weekend. Liverpool playing at home. Spurs, we've seen what they've done this season, very solid, especially against the top sides. Who's under more pressure to win this game tonight?
Who's under more pressure? It's not a cup final and it's not going to decide this league. But of course, Liverpool being at home, being defending champions, will be expected to win it. But the thing about this Liverpool team is that they have the make or the look of one of the kinds of teams that a Jose Mourinho team will struggle against. Why do I say? Mourinho's team is very pragmatic. The way they set up, almost like self-preservation first, and then we can use the intelligence of Kane and the finishing abilities of Son and Kane himself, to get past teams. But Liverpool don't leave themselves open too often, even though we saw Fulham, open them up time and again in the last game. But Liverpool would not go gung-ho against Spurs and allow themselves, knowing as Spurs play, to be, cut apart on the counter. So I feel like in terms of hard work, Liverpool can match Spurs. In terms of energy, intensity, they can match Spurs. In fact, they have been the benchmark for intensity over the last two seasons, particularly. So I don't think that Tottenham will outwork Liverpool. So on that basis, I feel like Tottenham will have to produce something extra to beat Liverpool, or even get a point at all. We saw against Crystal Palace, when Crystal Palace matched them with a lot of intensity, a lot of fight. Tottenham looked quite ordinary, to be honest. Even though in the last, they had a late rally and almost won the game for the brilliance of the goalkeeper of Crystal Palace. But for the most part, they didn't show superiority against Crystal Palace. And I feel like Jurgen Klopp's team, with the Manes of this world, the Salahs of this world, and playing at home, and knowing that, with a lot of players out injured, if they lose ground this point of the season, with the games coming thick and fast, it might be very difficult for them. I think that Liverpool just holds the slight edge, but never bet against the Jose Mourinho when it comes down to tactical games like this. He can always deliver a plan, to get past this big team. Hard to call, but I lean slightly towards a Liverpool. A Liverpool win.
All right, then. Before we go on this break, but I will come back to you. Let's get the pre-match thoughts of Jose Mourinho. There's a lot of talks about Tottenham being title contenders, but Jose is trying to downplay those expectations.
Harry Winks recently said when he was away with England that he needs lots of minutes to sort of force his way into Gareth Southgate's team for Euros. He's obviously not getting a lot of game.
It's a big noise.
Coming from your house, John?
It might be a washing machine.
Might be a washing machine, okay.
Stop now.
Harry Winks isn't getting a lot of game time in the Premier League. Is that something that he's come to you and spoken to you about, and how has he been, behind the scenes?
If he spoke with me?
Yes.
Why do you ask that? Because you know?
No, that's why I'm asking, because I don't know.
Or are you asking me for me to confirm?
Yes.
So you know?
No, I don't know.
You know, yes, you know. Yes, he come to me.
Oh, yeah, Jose Mourinho right there. Having his press out disrupted by Spain from a washing machine. Anyways, let's go back to Bada and talk about the game tonight. Arsenal versus Southampton. Bada, I know you've got special feelings for the Gunners, and it's not been a great season by any standard. How do you see this one playing out? Arsenal struggling, no confidence whatsoever. Southampton going great guns in the league.
Well, I think this presents another opportunity for Mikel Arteta's team to redeem themselves. They've failed at such opportunities recently, lost criminally to me 4 home games, teams that they should be beating. The last one, Burnley, absolutely no excuse in the world to be losing that game. They were in the ascendancy when Granit Xhaka got sent off. And even at that, you expect Arsenal to have the quality to go and win the game, but they didn't. Instead, they contrived to score an own goal, Aubameyang and Grant, and gifted the 3 points on offer to Burnley. So, Southampton is flying at the moment. I watched them against Sheffield over the weekend. They were absolutely oozing class and quality. Scored 3 brilliant goals. Danny Ings is in form. Ched Evans is in form. James Ward-Prowse is bending, free kicks into top corners. And I think Yannick Vestergaard, for me, has been one of the top defenders this season in the league. So this Southampton team hasn't beaten Arsenal in a very long while, but Arsenal will have to produce something out of the ordinary to get past them today. But like I said, it's another opportunity. And what Arteta would have going for him is that in recent weeks, he's had to play a different team on a Thursday night and win, play a different team on a Sunday evening and lose. Now he has the full complement of his squad to work with, and he can make changes. Willian has been super disappointing since he came along. I'd personally like to see him rested so that Nelson, with his pace and start. Honestly, Maitland-Niles was supposed to be signed by Wolves before they went for Semedo, because he did well in the FA Cup final and the Community Shield, but he hasn't had playing time, which is baffling, especially with Bellerin struggling so badly. So strengthen the right side of midfield, play Maitland-Niles, play Willian, and then go back to a back three. That's how you won the FA Cup. Go back to a back three. Play Holding, play Gabriel, and play Tierney in that back three, so that you can have Saka and either Maitland-Niles or Nelson play as part of the midfield and
Saka
create chances. Arsenal. Okay, so I mean, on the left, Pepe is back. Yeah. So tweak the system, make some personnel changes, and give yourself a chance to win this game. Southampton is a very, very good team. They're a very mobile team, and Arsenal will have to be compact. They haven't been, that compact in recent games. They've been conceding a lot of goals, but they will have to be compact this time, and they will have to create and score. The lack of confidence of Aubameyang and Lacazette is staggering. They can't seem to find, a finish.
Hit the side of the
they can't seem to buy one. Yeah, so Nketiah has been the highest goal scorer for the team. Does he start? I mean, he's got to make the tough calls to get Arsenal out of this dungeon that they are in at the moment.
Big dungeon indeed. Bada, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully you can join us again next week.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Bada. All right, then, it's about Arsenal, and several tweets are coming in from Arsenal fans, I presume, and we'll take them before the show is over. Do you want to talk
quickly
talk about
Dortmund? Borussia Dortmund, what happened today? The coach was fired, on Saturday after they lost that 5-1 to Stuttgart. Of course, the assistants just coming up, and they start winning. Before you know it, Guerrero gave them the first goal, and of course, pumped up, he was happy. Yes, this is what we want to do.
This is what I'm talking about.
And of course, Kevin, had to equalize.
From Kanji, but then they got another opportunity.
Marcus
Rose, captain, fantastic. Well,
from the spot, he missed it, but then he redeemed himself.
Yeah, with the rebound. And that's how they were able to get off to a winning start under the new coach, Erdin Terzic. Yeah, it was just a rush of blood. Tried to atone for it, great save.
It was there to
tap it over. And that's how they got 3 points. And hopefully they can build on that going forward as a first win in 4 league games. Before look at the papers and tweets. Cecilia.
Let's take some tweets. Nobleman Flyer says, I'm impressed watching Shemi Ajayi yesterday and even winning Man of the Match award. Kenneth Rowe needs to play to his strength. We've come to this again. I see Jose breaking the hearts of Liverpool tonight. Take it to the bank, Cecilia. The score will be 2-1. My heart is still with the kidnapped boys. Yeah, we hope they're...
Ojumu, Oluwafemi, good morning. I see Arsenal getting a goal tonight, but winning, I doubt, because they lack confidence right now.
Okay.
Dr. Kene, I would have loved to banter Chelsea fans after those screamers from NATO and Podence. But looking at my team, Arsenal, I've decided to take a chill pill. That's very, very sensible coming from Dr. Kenneth.
Yeah, because the last one, we'll take this last one from Bosun. He says, this is probably the most unpredictable season in the history of the EPL. You can't clearly predict which team will get a win, irrespective of the opposition. I'm loving it, though. I'm loving it, too. I just hope Josie will be able to break that home record at Anfield. I mean, they're 70 now, right? Are they targeting 100? Well, it's been on for a while, and everyone is just tired of them having a field day at Anfield.
It's approaching 70
now.
All right, let's look at the papers before we go. Sports in life. A lot of stories. Eagles are form in Europe. Excites again at Raw. That's fantastic for Nigeria. Mourinho opens fire on Liverpool. Ericsson to snub United interest. Fake news. Messi's father debunks report of meeting Qatari consulate. Talks about Messi going to PSG in the summer.
Okay, Sporting Sun is next, and Osimhen continues therapy in Belgium.
Ouch.
You also have no Super Eagles first-team choice goalkeeper yet. That's coming from Gennett Raw. For those of you that are already tipping, you know the big boy, Maduka Okoye, well, says there's no first team yet, but that's the coach telling you this. And Ronaldo to break Grand Real record. What Grand Real Madrid transfer? What does this mean? Okay. And then the details will definitely be there. Lukman Eze named in EPL Team of the Week. Yes, these players were fantastic. No birthday party for Ndidi. Okay, well, NFF, okay. That's what's all about. The last one this morning is Complete Sport. Complete Sport, Osimhen storms Belgium for medical help. Come on, scream, man. It's just there for Storm Belgium.
Yeah, well.
Ajayi's deflected shot ends West Brom. A game ends. Super fights could generate up to 500 million pounds. That's Anthony Joshua and
that's major.
Tyson Fury. That's major. That's big money. Major. All right, Tayo, we have to leave the studio because business money is up next.
All right.
All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a great day.
I am Tayo Salam. Enjoy the rest of your day.